let's get back into it with another episode of Redux with your host, Rinky, aka Cheat Door, on another part of this, what was supposed to be a one-parter, two-parter, three-parter, but is now on the fourth part of Project L champion list, or champion of fighters, as I would put it, as I'm trying to list and trying to put into a tier of what I believe would be in the Project L, or what could be most definitely there. There's a confirmed list, there's an anti-tier list, which I do not want these people even remotely a part of it, unless some maybe background story. I don't want Gragas. I definitely was like, get off my stage. But anyway, aside from that, I'm on the fourth part. Like I said, let's continue from there, because I think this is the last haul, because I did again 140 champions. Who knew it was going to be this long? And I talk about all of them because that's just who I am. We're on Rise now, so Rise. Let's continue. Rise. Rise is predominantly like so the whole reason why it's called Runeterra and the regions and stuff is because this is the lands that are made after the world. Where it's like a world rune wars, pretty much. Is because the runes, or the world runes, are runes of immense power that can. It's almost like if you think about like the stones, the power stones that are in the gauntlet and stuff like that from Marvel. Aside from the fact that instead of like most of the runes or most of the power stones being on Earth, all the power stones, all the runes are on Earth and ripe for the picking. So people picked, and people got jealous, and people got power hungry, and people started wars, and magic ensued, and travesty and almost apocalypse became a norm. Rise is kind of like the person who's trying to catch, or to harbor, not really harbor, but to keep away these runes from other people and stash them away so never happens again. And so Armageddon doesn't happen and stuff like that. But also, he's a person just like everyone else, and he has to resist the lure of these powers and not give in to them. But aside from that, that's just the lore thing of Rise. And apparently in Arcane, if that flashback was right, he also saves Jace and puts him on his path with the Hex tech. Rise is interesting because his character, like, he has a lot of locks. He has a lot of hitting and doing his thing. As a fighter, he's possible. Again, but again, he would probably need another rework just for this. And this man has had 5 reworks. His ult would also be redundant, so he probably would go with his old ult of like just making himself stronger as an install. But his ult would be stupid as hell. It wouldn't make any sense. There's no point of teleporting people from one spot to the other and then channeling that thing if it's just one person with you. It would be dumb. So that would definitely need to be rekitted if he was going to be plausible to be in the game. I don't see why he would have to be there. Maybe you just... Ooh! Speaking of which, now that I think about it, I do understand that Project L, by the news and everything, has a fuse system to itself, but they really could have just gave it to the world runes. Like, they could have attached that lore bit and made that the fuse systems are just resembled by the runes. And then this would be like, oh, well, you have a piece of the runes and you're using it on your team. Who knows? That could have been a lore thing. I don't know. And again, the game's not out. It's work in progress. I'm just letting y'all people know, Tom King, if they're going to name drop that. But right forward to anyone who's on it, you could literally just make the fuse system part of the actual runes and keep that going, I guess, as just a fun little thing. Almost like how Marvel vs. Capcom uses the Power Stones in, I think it's Infinite. But yeah, so it's plausible, whatever. We have Samara. So fun part is, for Samara, I don't really, like, I know she's new, and I should have looked into her lore. I only know her as a bounty hunter, that she's of Shuriman descent, but also she works in Noxus. I don't know much about her. I know she's trying Like she's doing the bounty hunter because she wants to be in a state where she can defend other people, and she's cool as hell. But also the fact that like Samara is supposed to be there standing for like Dante, like the Devil May Cry aspect, the SSS stylish thing that you can do, make yourself stylish. Well, you don't really do the SSS, it's just S. But that's all the basis of it. Like the fact that you have a gun, a huge sword, and you can switch between those two. That puts a lot of versatility into the fighting aspect, and also still be a ranger and projectiles, stuff like that. The fact that you could do a little thing to like stop projectiles completely is also fun too. Which I don't know if they would lock that to her special, or she can just do that. It's a very cool thing for Samara. Also that she can kind of shoot her way towards somebody and push through them in a way. Like maybe she could even interrupt the system, be like, "Oh, you're doing your system? No, I'm gonna dash through you and take none of that." Or again, shield herself. So she's cool. And then her ult, being out as S rank and whatever, I guess that would have to change a little bit. Who knows? Unless they want to make her own mechanic for her. But it's cool. I freaking love Samara. Samara is a cool design, cool play. I can't play her because she's hard to play, and there's a lot of risk to reward aspect, and you can get trumped real hard. But if you come in there swinging and you're doing your spins and you're doing your own, I'm like Katarina, but with a gun kind of thing. Which a lot of people were debating that if Samara's in the game, Katarina would be taken off. And especially they think that Samara's in the game and Katarina's not part of it because, again, she hasn't been seen since 2019. But I highly doubt they would work and showcase a character like Katarina and just drop her fully. And they could also have Samara and Katarina, and they would be two different characters. Like, they're different. So I don't see why they would take them off. I really hope they just have both because they're both amazing, cool characters. And Samara is a most def. Like, she just works. And if they have like Dante was in Marvel's Capcom and he worked, and this would just be almost the exact same. They can use a lot of Dante's skill set in Samara for the fighting aspect and change her up a little bit and make her amazing. Like, I do not see why they would not put her in there. As maybe even starting roster. I really don't see the reason why they wouldn't do it. She's a very cool character. And it just works. It just works. But yeah. So yeah, I'm going to put Samara on there. Sejuani, I want to say mostly likely not. And I'm not going to put her as Entei because I love Sejuani. I say mostly not just because the whole thing about Sejuani is that she rides a boar. Or whatever her skin wants to allow it. Sometimes it's a pig, sometimes a teacup pig, or sometimes it's a bear. But she rides an animal, pretty much. Mostly in canon, it's the boar, and she's supposed to it's supposed to represent the Iron Boar in a way, but not like she's riding the god. But that would be weird. But Sejuani and that boar is so no, what's his name? I can't remember right now. Oh, this is not locked in. But yeah, her and that boar are inseparable pretty much the whole time in League. And I can't see her just being on that whole thing and that taking up so much space of like the character in the. I know it's not like fully focusing, like, oh, you only have your screen and then it's a little bit spaced out, but she has so much of her and her boar that would have to be together. And then again, another one of the problems, a four-legged creature jumping is weird to me. But yeah, I would, and if they take off her from her boar, she would be a whole different character. Like, maybe she has a bolo to hit and everything, but she wouldn't be Sejuani anymore. She would just be, well, I shouldn't say that. She'd still be Sejuani, but she wouldn't be with the boar. She'd be different. So most likely not going to put her in there because it takes too much to do, or would take so much out of her. So Senna, which I remember I was hearing, of course, I was hearing rumors that maybe they might put Senna in the game. But I'm going to put her on an anti-tier. I do not see the purpose of Senna in the game because her weapon is a goddamn cannon that is slow moving and just shoots. Like, I can't imagine that in a fighting game unless she's going to use the cannon as a actual weapon to hit somebody with. And again, I don't see her just swinging that thing at people. So, like, unless you want to make a very slow mover, but also every time you get hit, you're like, like hard knocked. And it just is not okay. And then her, like, spirit form would be annoying and with the space and everything. And her ult would just be a line that I guess if somebody else is there, it would be cool. It just, I don't know. I still put her in enter because she's so much like a support. And she's a marksman support, which I'm like, nah. If I like, a lot of support are not going to be in the list just because they have to be a support and they have to enchant. But definitely a marksman support. Like, it's so. But speaking of other supports that probably aren't going to be in there, Seraphine, most likely not, just because she's on that hoverboard of sorts, and unless she wants to hover with it with the magic and everything, it doesn't fit. Also, no, a lot of people don't like Seraphine because of her lore. And then now her lore is going to be kind of taken out because Skarner is changing. Skarner's not on this list yet. But the whole thing was Seraphine. So in the lore, originally Hextech comes from the jewels off of Skarner's and Skarner's family. And that, like, his scepter, like his crystal stinger, is Hextech. So that was a whole thing that she was powered and she was trying to sing to like not do it, but people didn't take it that way. There was a whole conspiracy about, well, not conspiracy, a whole drama thing about it. So if you want to get into that, you can, but I'm not going to get into it here. And then of course we meet Zet, best boy, brawler, the real brawler, not this Gragas BS brawler. No, Set, is the real, and I'm going to put him on the top of Mos Def. The top of it. Because to me, in my hearts of hearts, Set needs to be in this game. Okay, we got to talk about the fact that this guy is supposed to be half Assign, half human. He is a Badger Vesine kind of way. And the whole thing about him is he is a man of hard knuckles. He goes and punches. Even though he has a brawler ring, kind of underground fighting stage of sorts, he still fights in the underground fighting. He still goes to bat every time. He's a person who, he built himself from being this wascally little kid that was probably rude because he didn't have a father figure or whatever, to being an entrepreneur of like, I'm running these streets, I'm running this ring, and if anyone comes in here and tries to mess it up, I will beat them. I'm going at it. And of course his installs would, like, he could have the specials and all his things with like getting hit and then seeing how that would work, like with his W, like how armor is going to work on him. He would be broken, but he's going to be amazing because there's like a problem with Ione again. Like, there's so many characters that are fighters, and Set is a fighter. So if he doesn't, and even his haymaker would be broken in a way of sort, like, because this is the assist fighter, a tag team fighter. So imagine you tag somebody in, and this guy's like, nope, haymaker, and now you both get hit. You cause yourself to be stunned because of that. And of course the assist will be like, well, I did my job and dip. But you're there like, oh shit. Like, and then it comes to going cooldown. It will just be annoying. And then of course his ult will be fantastic of him just grabbing and going, boom. And then of course, like in the fighting thing, he could not only be a hitter, but they could add some of his, like, he could be a grappler. Because he would be outside of the realm of what League would allow him to do. So who knows? Like, I need, like, it's not my Mos Def. This is a need. I need Set to be in the game. especially because Ari's in the game, and I want them to meet up and maybe have some talk to each other. Because I hate that I can't remember the name of the person who's on Twitter, and if you're watching this somehow, I love your comics. I love the comics of Ari and Set together, and they're fun. That whole, like, I know it's again a fan fiction of character couple, because I don't, to my knowledge, they have never seen each other yet. Even though Ari was in the picture for when you see Set in League Legends of Runeterra. There's a part where you see Set's fighting some other guy, which, if they put in a new character from nowhere, Jack would be on that list too. Legend of Runeterra champion. But anyway, there's a whole thing where Set and Ari, like, so Ari's in the background. You can see her in the stand, and I'm like, oh shit, she was there, and I want them to meet. And to be honest, like, when they reveal, I hope when they reveal the new champion, or when they do it on August 4th, and it's not one of the people we already see, if it's a new reveal, my heart's a heart, I would love it if it's a Set. I'm gonna play him. I'm gonna learn how to play Set so hard. Like, I want to play this game, and I hate that I can't ever play yet. But I need Set to be in the game. Like, this is what he was made for this game, and I want it. But anyway, aside from that, most deaf. Shaco, or Shaco, as some people call it. I call it Shaco. I do not care. Like, I know I've heard it from the game devs. I've heard it from other people. They call it Shaco, or it's weird. I like Shaco. So, but Shaco, especially because he has no lore to him, at all. He can talk and he can attack, and maybe he can use his clones, but the whole clone thing is going to be kind of difficult, because how much you want to put on the screen, and then of course actually no, because technically Echo does the whole clone thing too. It's weird because he uses his clones as ways to, like, not get hit by certain things, or to dodge out of a projectile or something like that. Or he uses boxes, which he can throw boxes at people and fear them, and shoot them at the same time. And then he can throw his dagger. So I put him as plausible. He's not going to be most likely not. I'm going to put him plausible. It's just one of those things where you're like, okay, but how though? I'm going to keep pushing there. Yeah, put them there. Okay. And yeah, there's no lore. Like, so it's not me just like, I don't know who this person is. It's legit. I can't even try to do that. Now, Shen I do know about. Shen is, of course, of Ionia. She's actually the mentor to Akali. And so, okay, he's plausible. He's not a most def, just because his ult would have to be taken out. Because what kind of ult is like, oh, I channel my shield and I come in there? Unless, like, you can do that off stage, which that would be broken, and I don't even know how you're gonna do that. I just don't see it happening. Like, you have to change his ult, and also his Spirit Guardian thing is kind of weird too. Like, it's just a weird concept in general. I don't even Shen should be this high up of the plausible. So many things would have to change, and taunting and stuff like that. I don't even know how taunting works, or if it can work in this. But I'll keep him there, I guess. I don't know. So many champions, I'm like, they would do whatever, but it's not in order. Okay. Shyvana is one of those characters I know they would have to work at. I know they would have to work at to make Shyvana work, because of, like, the dragon thing and how it works in League, and like how she's just a dragon the whole for a little bit, and she turns back to being half dragon. There's the whole Fury thing. But why put it still in the most def even though Gnar is in that same shit? Gnar is still range as Gnar. And I'm talking about this character over here. Shyvana, though, is a melee champion. And she's melee in this half-dragon form. And then, like, with her dragon, she just becomes big and she can breathe fire and stuff like that. And do the fire around her thing will be kind of broken if she can do that. Probably going to be a special of sorts instead of actually an attack that she can just bring up. I can see her doing the whole thing of, like, changing into a dragon to make the special look cool. But I think they're going to... The way they would have to add her into Project L, which I still, again, want her to be added because half-dragon is amazing. I love dragons. If you haven't noticed, right, some of my icons, those are dragon-like characters in a way. I've never talked about it on this channel yet. But yeah, I do like dragons. I like Shyvana. I didn't like the whole thing with Shyvana with her being of like she's so locked into trying. You have to defeat these dragons to get stronger and stuff like that. So I never played her when she became a jungler of the dragon way. But her in a fighting game would be amazing. Like I would like to see how that would work. Her using the flames or her being the element representative of fire itself. And she would just work. Like it would be cool to fight as. I loved her in Mage Seeker because it was so fun to play her. Well, not play her, but like the voice. And then it also had to fight against her. But yeah, no, most def here. I would hate to have Singe in the game. Oh, Lord. I'm going to put in my anti here. I would hate to have Singe in the game. Because what is this? A whole thing about Singe is apparently... Is he not? No. Singe was in Pitover. And if you go by Arcane thing, Singe is also the teacher of... Or like the helper of Victor. But I don't know how much of that is canon. But yeah, Singe is just so mad scientist of sorts. And yeah. But in the game, in League of Legends, all he does is just spew out poison that if you keep following him, you're going to get poisoned. You're going to get more and more damage as you take. Then he would grab you, throw you down, put some paste on the ground so you like stuck there for a little bit. It's a very no. I hate playing as Singe. It's very boring to play as Singe. I hate playing against Singe because it's very annoying to play against him because he only really can do one thing. I'm going to do stuff and be annoying, then run away. Did you chase me? You're dead. Oh, I'm going to tax your lane. So you could chase me. Oh, did you do that? You're dead. Like, I think you can just die multiple times, but then come back. Like, Singe is the only champion. I'm going a little bit too hard on this. Singe is the only champion of League of Legends who can, well, one of the only ones. Karthus is on that list too. But he's one of the only ones that he can be 1-11. And not only can he become positive by the mid-game to late game because he's just getting kills and people are chasing and people are doing stupid stuff, he can be the very reason why they win the game, even though he was feeding the whole time. That feeding is a term of like losing more than you have ever gained. So if you're 1 and 2, you're feeding. Especially if you're 1 and 2 and 0, which 0 being your assist. You never even helped anybody out. You are feeding at that point. So he could be full on feeding in a game and then legit win from it because people start doing stupid stuff. And then he's just being annoying and grabbing people going, ha ha ha. It's annoying. I hate it. But yeah, no. Straight up in the fighting game will be bad. It would be really bad. Like, I don't want him in the game. Sion is fun. I know his ult would not work because, well, he couldn't miss unless people can jump. Because his whole ult is that he charges and it pumps somebody in the face. But he has a wind-up. Unless he's doing super armor, which I don't even know if there's any super armor in the game. He's just winding up and taking hits and doing stuff like that. Because he has a huge axe. And technically, if Jarvan's not in the game, I don't know. I don't think San needs to be in the game, to be real honest. We have a lot of people with big weapons already, and if I had to choose between San and Mordekaiser, I'm picking Mordekaiser 100%. I like him now. So it's just going to be there. Sivir, I'm also going to say most likely not, unless you want to deal with somebody who's just going to throw her stupid weapon over and boomerang it, and then do that, and then come back, and then if you bring an assist, it's going to boomerang between them, and then come back, and then her whole thing is ult and just makes her faster. Like, I wouldn't like, most likely not. I'm not going to say anti-tier, but most likely not. It's not going to happen. Skarner's... So, there's actually two reasons why Skarner probably is not going to be in Project L. Like I said, his original lore used to be that he was part of Shurima, I believe. And that was his thing, that he was a bug. He could talk. And that has changed now. So he's going to be remade. So he's going to have different moves and stuff like that. So that's, unless League has been pushing with Riot. Ooh, now that I thought about that, that could be, if they did, okay, so if they put Skarner as the reveal for August 4th through the 5th, and they reveal him as the champion, that's like the new champion, that might coincide and say, hey, this champion is going to be in this, but also, it's coming to Riot, so you can play as this before you can play in Project L in real, but who knows if that's how they're going to introduce that they're still working on the remake of, because that guy's been pushed a lot, so, or delayed. But the thing is, why I say most likely not is because Skarner still needs to be reworked, and if they're not holding hands on each other, like Riot's not like, okay, here's what you can work on with Riot Forge while we're also working on this game, then he would be too new, and they're not going to just input him with all the new things on him. So I say most likely not going to happen. Sona's also on that list of most likely not going to happen. Predominantly because Sona is, again, kind of like Seraphine, but better in my book. But she has no, I can't remember what it's called. It's not a harp because it's a cross and it's bigger. But her whole thing is like she can't talk. She's muted. She talks to the summoner, which is creepy in the ears the first time you hear it. But the whole thing is like she just does hymns and shoots you with musical notes, and I don't see that working in a fighting game unless she's going to hit you with the thing. So that'll be kind of weird. But also the fact that like Sona, like, unless they take that off and then she just use the notes on you, that'll be cool. But then they'll be different. So I don't know if they're going to work that hard to make an enchanter into a fighter without the boost. Soraka's also on that. Oof. Soraka with her heels and her bananas. Nanners. Where she just throws these. It's not real bananas. It's just that because it's a crescent kind of shooting at you, she's a star child of sorts. It looks like a banana, and it used to do damage, and then they nerfed it. And she's such like, the thing is, she's such a support character. Her abilities work like support things, so I can't see her as this fighter now, and they have to change her. But most likely not. It's still not anti-tier. Most likely not. Anti-tier. No, okay. Swain, it's very plausible for him to be a champion because it again has this install where he just becomes Crow Man with his like demon in his hand and stuff like that. He'll be a little bit slower because he has to use his cane, but he does have the range, and I guess he could use his cane as a weapon in short things. But also, It'd be weird because they have to fix the eye part because I can't fathom just going on an eye and trying to hit somebody with it, and especially because you can always see people unless even if they're invisible. That'd be such a like situational thing. But again, it's plausible if they would have to just retool. They would just have to retool them. But again, he's there. Silas. He could really be a must have. And the only reason why I say probably he's a must have because of his ult. His special is to literally steal somebody else's special, which could be kind of broken if he like just takes part of your like. So I would think how that would work in Project L is that he would just take a piece of your bar. And then, so you of course would have to gain back some of that bar. He won't just disable your thing or take a full bar. That's a little bit crazy. But you will take a little piece of your bar, and then now you can use your like level 1 or level 2, I guess. Maybe you will have different installs of that if he wants to take your level 1. There would have to be a way to like counter that, I guess, because now it's just like, oh, he touched you, it's over. So, I guess if he blocked or something like that, then he couldn't take it. Maybe, who knows? But he would have to have a way to fix that or to make it more Project L reliable. But I can see it. There's always somebody who can do certain moves. But seeing how Nico is on this list, I want to say maybe plausible. I'm going to put him as plausible for now. Syndra, whole things of balls and throwing them like her little dark spheres, but now she wouldn't really gain anything by picking up somebody. There's no minions or anything that do that, and she's just gonna use balls to throw at people and then push them back. I guess I say most likely. You know what? Most likely not. Most likely not gonna be out there. Just a weird kit. Tom Kench would probably be on that. Oh, Tom Kench would be ridiculous. Would he be? Okay. Because the whole thing about Tom Kench... Oh, sorry. Syndra is from Ionia, I believe. Syndra also has a thing with Zed? I don't know. I never looked into a lore too much. Tom Kench is apparently a demon, most residing in Bilgewater, which tries to make deals with people who he knows they can't pay their end of the bargain on, and then when they can't do it, he swallows them because he is hunger personified, and he can never be sated. But also doesn't really need to eat. He's just hungry. Like, it's weird, but it's not like he's starving. It's not like he's like, I need to eat or I'll die. No, he's just hungry for hungry's sake, and weird. But anyway. So, he's a catfish demon. It's fun. He talks a lot. But also, like, his moves would be kind of fun. Well, like... Ooh, would his ult work? Like, how would his ult... Like, he's gonna bite people and then spit them out at somebody? Oh, dang. He would be tricky. He'd be a very tricky person. I wouldn't say... I'm not going to say most def, but he's... As I keep thinking about him, he's tricky to try to make into a project out. But if they do it, he's going to be annoying. Talia would definitely we need to be reworked to make this work. Because her ult is stupid. I hate her ult. That's why I don't play her, because I make a wall and I step on the other side of the wall. Okay, what about if you miss? Well, you're fudged. I'm like, what? So they would have to retool that. But if Talia would be like, if they can't have Malphite, they're going to put Talia. Because then it would just be a rock. Like, she's going to fling rocks at you. She'd be like, Avatar of, like, Earth. Not really Avatar, sorry. Bender of Earth. and she can live outside of her origins or her league parts. She's from Shurima, by the way, but she just gifted as like this person who can surf the sands on a stone because that's just what she can do. She also meets Kai'Sa in cinematics, so that was fun. She looked weird in that one. She looked way too real looking. But yeah, I tell you, you know what? If that's gonna be, I would say most stuff. Because if we're gonna have like elements in there, I would want her to be on there as like the Earth representative. Yeah, let's do that. Talon, I say most likely not. Just, I know he's an assassin and everything, but like one of his moves is jumping terrain. There's no terrain to jump. And his ult is like, okay, well, you can go invisible and then you go behind somebody or somebody. Unless you don't get hit or something, then it's just it's impossible to I'm stupid. It will be impossible to hit him. Which it's kind of broken. So I'm going to say most likely that Talon's not going to be in there just because he works for League of Legends. He's not even Legends of Terra, to be real honest. So, for now. So, no. I'm not going to... Nah. Tark would be an interesting character. They would have to take off his ult because you being impervious and not being able to die for a little bit is broken. And he heals. A lot of his things don't work because he would be by himself. I would love to see him just fight, but most likely not. Like, they would have to change a lot about him just to make him work. I miss him being fabulous, but technically Ezreal's not in there. Why would you need to have the other one? Ooh, we ran out of sessions. I guess. Okay. So, Teemo, definitely anti-tier. Anti-tier, I don't care. Teemo's a Yordle of Yordles. First Yordle on the list, but again, he is a person. Sorry, he's a Yordle. That all he does is really spit poison, and apparently sells mushrooms. He has a drug trafficking thing. Like, it's crazy. And I'm like, wait, he sells a lot of these shrooms, aren't these like poisonous? But of course, Yordles can't die, so they just get high on it. Like, it's crazy. But no, definitely not because he's just this robust character, like, he was like a bumblebee, like fur. And it would be so weird just to see him walk and try to fight. And I'm just like, and the range, and he's annoying, and you have to throw his shrooms. They're going, it'd be annoying. I'm pretty sure they might put Teemo in just because he's so popular. But at the same time, popularity might not mean anything because look at the champions who are confirmed right now. Jinx technically only got popularity from... Well, Jinx and Echo only just started getting real popularity because of Arcane. Ahri's kind of been always there because of the charm, and she's like a minx of sorts. Darius, yeah. But not all these people are like, oh my god. It's Captain Teemo on duty. I had to do it, I'm sorry. So Thresh, Shadow Isles, the Warden. The reason why Lucian. The reason why Senna. Because Lucian put Senna in in his lantern, which pretty much is just like a jail of all these souls and stuff like that. Lucian got Senna out. Apparently, in the lore, Thresh is out amongst the people from the so Shadow Isles. Without going too far into that story, there was something called Blessed Isles. It's a little bit off of Demacia, which has Garen, Fiora, and all those other characters. Lucian was also a Demacian, but there's the Blessed Isles, and a certain king, a certain prince, did the unspeakable and tried to bring back his wife through the Blessed Isles and caused a curse. That curse became what is the Shadow Isles. It's now a place of unrest. Wraiths of many shapes and forms are there. And something called the harrowing can happen where the Shadow Isles escapes from where their territory normally is and starts breaching other places and taking people into death, changing them into controlled wraiths by the prince. And Thresh is one of the... Well, he's not controlled, but Thresh is a character who became a wraith, like, because situations. And then, through the whole thing of that prince losing a second time, he's now in the living world. He's now in Demacia. He's technically human. I don't know if that's the version I'm going to go with if they put in him Project L. But, again, if they don't put Blitzcrank in, or if they need to put Blitzcrank in and they want another person who can grab, my bet's Thresh. Because Thresh has utility. Thresh can grab people. He can swing himself into people. He can flay people back. So he's like, no, get off me. So he has that like move on there. He can also lantern people, which that could be a very interesting thing of him having assist of just throwing his lantern. And if you hit it, you get a shield. So you can at least get shielded. And he's not there, which would be very interesting if he could do that, where he doesn't have to be in the vicinity to do that, making it safe assists. I don't think they were going to allow that. I think he's just going to have to come out and he throws his lantern at you to shield you. But yeah, this seems like a very... And then probably if you want to grab it and bring it, he can bring himself in. Like it would be like he can force a handshake tag or something of that nature. I think it would be interesting. Also, his ult... at first I thought, I'm like, oh, his ult's stupid. Like, he just brings into, like, the... puts a barrier into it. I didn't even talk about Mordekaiser being the whole thing that you can just take people out of existence. And then you would be mano-a-mano, which is weird in a tag team match, but it would be awesome for an ult. Mordekaiser being this guy. But Thresh would be... Like, his ult is that he just puts, like, a wall. Like, pretty much just, like... a pentagon of a wall of like spectral energy, and if you cross it, you get hit, you get hurt from crossing into the barrier. So I would think how that would translate into Project L is like if you get out of it, you're gonna get hit, you're gonna take some damage, but also if your assist goes into it, like if you're like, okay, well I'm gonna bring my assist in, and the assist hits into that wall, he's gonna take damage from that. So it could be interesting. Like you don't want to bring in your assist because you don't want your assist to take damage, but you also don't want to hit that wall and you have to deal with somebody who's like, I'm here now. So I can see it. And also Thresh is one of those supports that legit for a while could just go top lane and stuff like that and mid. So these are lanes in MOBAs if no one knows. I like this music. How much time? Oh yeah, we gotta hurry this up. Tristana, Yordle, Bandle City, most likely not. She's a marksman or markswoman. Sorry, she has a cannon for a weapon. Unless she's going to shoot that cannon, like she's going to hit people with that cannon. I don't really see it. I'm going to say most likely not. Even though I love Tristana, she's a very fun-looking character, and not final skin, but she has a skin in League where instead of having an actual cannon as her weapon, she has a dragon, and I love it. So, but I can see. Now, Trundle's an interesting character, because Trundle is one of those characters that if we don't get an ice representative with Braum, Trundle will probably be up there because he can steal, he can steal momentum. He can put up a pillar that does that. I can see that working. It would be very annoying. I kind of don't want him in there because it would just be very annoying to deal with. But he's plausible. Still, I'm going to put him in most stuff because I need my Braum. Tredemir. he would need some Trenimir is from Freylord. He's the king of Freylord, or a part of it at least, with Ash being his wife of arranged marriage. But I think Trenimir actually likes Ash. I don't know if they like each other or if they break up eventually. But it's kind of weird because they seem like an arranged marriage that like wasn't too bad of an arranged marriage. I do know that apparently his rage does come from the fact that he's dealt with Aatrox, which is... Where is that guy? He was on the list. Oh my god. Where is this guy? Oh yeah. Aatrox here. That guy. He does have dealings with Trenimir. Trenimir, I think, kind of inflicts him with this rage. But yeah, Trenimir will be fun. He's just like, but the thing is, I put him on only as plausible because again, he's a big guy with a sword, and some of his moves doesn't make sense because you can't really run away from someone, so you can't really put into a state of chicken or slowed in that way because if you're not running. And his ult is annoying because of the fact that like his ult's supposed to be that he just can't feel damage after he gets a 0. He just rages in a way and can't die, but he can heal after that, and then you can kill him. I don't know. It'll be just weird. I'm gonna put him a little bit lower in the list, right next to this guy. So I'm gonna swing. Twisted Fate. I don't even want him in there, to be real honest. I really don't. He's a mage. He just throws cards. He would just throw cards and projectiles. He does not come close to people. And he doesn't have like a staff like how like Gambit, which he's, I'm pretty sure, based off of. It is based off of, so I can't really see it. It's the anti-tier. Twitch. I was hyped. Most likely not. I'm not gonna put him anti. I like Twitch, but like him just hiding wouldn't make really sense, and like you can't really control him because you're just gonna be silent, I guess. And people, but like you can't even turn invisible, so it's weird because you're just in this space and you just shoot. You just shoot. It doesn't work. You're just a marksman. Or a mark rat. I'm done. So, I say Adur would probably be in the game in some form of shape. He's very plausible to be in the game, especially with a rework. Because originally I wasn't going to put I didn't have Adur for a lot of things because his rework was coming out and his rework was like very recent. But the game's not even out yet, or even who knows when that's ever coming. Project L is coming out either later on this. I don't think it's coming out later on this year. Either that or in spring of next year. But by that time, Adur is a character that they can build off of and take from. I would hope they would actually go with a different version of Adur than what you have now in League, where he's just like older. And kind of not as fit as he used to be in Ionia. When apparently he had relations with Lee Sin. That was different. I was not expecting that. Well, good for him, I guess. They're, though, interesting. Because technically if you have Adur, then you don't need any of the other gods of Freylord, because he has the powers of Chrono Phoenix. He has Anivia. He has the powers of... he can turn into for the Ram, so he can be like Orin. And he can also have the electric powers of Volibear. So, it would be kind of weird. Also, he can actually have the Iron Board, which has never been introduced yet. So, if they put him in, he would have a way of like switching through the tides, through the stages, or stances, I should say. But who knows what's going to happen there. Oh, Urgot. Urgot's interesting. Because Urgot has a shooting thing. Like, he is a He he's a ranged champion. He's not a marksman, but he's ranged. And then he does also have the things with his legs, which doesn't really work in a 2D space, where you have to hit a certain area and then get the vitals. Also, kind of the same thing with Fiora, but I guess you can change it. Be like you have to hit mid, low, and high as the vitals, and then some of them might be from behind the person. So you have to thrush through or some weird stuff like that. It's gonna be interesting how they have to do her vital system. Maybe it'd have to be like you have to do it in certain like 1, 2, 3 and hit. Who knows? They could do that. But Urgot would be weird too. He can grab. He has that ult that like sends you in and hits you, and it's a crit. I'm gonna say most likely not. To be real honest. Yeah, let's go with that. That's a fair bet. Varus is also going to be here because he's just a guy with a bow. Unlike Ash, or maybe have the machine gun kind of thing and can maybe use the bow as a weapon and be believable. Varus is not using that bow as just like to hit things with. He's using it as long range. I'm going to hit you. I'm going to throw other arrows with my darkened ways because Varus, even though he doesn't look as monstrous as the other Darkins, he's a Darkin. He is a combination of two guys and the Darkin in him, so he's of 3 minds. Well, I think he's of one person's body, the Darkin's mind, and then the other one's soul is also trapped in. So it's a 3 of 1 combo. Oh, I didn't even realize that. Cool. So, but I don't think he's going to be in the game. It's just a lot to put into the game on that. And I don't... Vayne and her Demacian and her being of like a monster hunter or like monster like vampires and all that stuff and that her tumbling and rolling and stuff like that and her ult just being more tumbles or making herself invisible for it. I can't see it happening. I'm going to say most likely not going to happen. I'm going to put it right next to like the marksmans. Viger, unless he has his suit, he also has the same problem of being a Yordle. And I do not think, unless they're going to give him the mech from Legends of Runeterra, I can't see him being a thing. Just can't see it without it. Vel'Koz is fun. I want Vel'Koz to be in the game. I say plausible. I can't say most def going to be in the game. Just because his pop things, unless he's going to... Oh, he would be a good trap character. If they extend it a little bit more. And then he could be also ranged because he uses his tentacles, but they're kind of melee. That's interesting. Okay, high on the plausible. Very high on the plausible of that. Because then he doesn't have to be like a mid or that. His ult would be very weird because it's just a huge laser that shoots out. Unless they're going to put it as a cinematic one. Which is interesting. Vex is going to be on that list of... And people are going to be very weird. I put that as the most def character. Because again, out of the Yordles, yes, of course, Rumble is on top. Poppy's second. But I love... Vex, when Vex came out, that attitude that she has, wish Vex helped out with the Shadow Isles and the spreading of the mist. Because she can do that. Because that's apparently part of her power of being like a gloom girl. And she's very sad that technically Yordles are immortal and really only can die from like a critical... Like they can't die of old age. They have to get killed. And she's not that way. So she knows death is inevitable kind of in a way. Or not inevitable. She can't die. It would be over. It's like not gonna happen. So she's stuck like that. Well, I guess. But also, like, her shadow is technically... I don't know if it's supposed to be like her shadow is different from her, or is just a reflection of her emotion that show more of what she is than she would show personally, I guess. But she talks to the shadow like it it's there. And also the fact of like her being of a shadow, it can give her height, I guess, if she's like riding on the shadow and stuff like that. And she can use that shadow magic would be different and weird for Project L. Or fighting. It will be interesting. So I put her as a most stuff. Oh god. Blade of the Rune King, Mr. No, Isabel is his wife. What's his name? I only know his Viego. There it is. Viego. The he's fun. If gaslighting was a character, it's Viego, because Viego is trying to get his wife back and bring her back from the dead and wants to be back with her, even though technically he was a horrible, horrible person. Because when he was good, he was good. But when he was bad, he was horrible. In a way of like, he's a man-child. He wants to get his way with stuff and everything like that. And he thinks that if he's nice to somebody, he should get what he deserves, kind of thing. He's that kind of person who's like, oh, well, I was nice to you. You need to help. Like, you need to help me out because I was nice to you. It's like, no, you're supposed to just be nice. It's not something you get rewarded for. It's just something you should just be. But yeah, so but his moves are fun. He could use a Hollow Mist to make himself invisible. He can throw it to grab somebody and kind of like stun them as he brings himself towards somebody. His ult is what would be weird because he has to kill somebody and then he can pretty much gain them as a shadow. Like he just use their powers. And then he'll get like ult again. I don't know how that's going to work. And that will be a lot. But it's plausible. And that's why he's there. Whew, Victor. Oh my god. I'm at the end. Do I have enough? I don't know if I have enough to make 20. To make a part 5. Oh my. Oh god. Would it really have to be a part 6 of this? I didn't even know we were going to get part 5. Ooh, this is a lot. This is a lot. Oh no, this would be part... Yeah, so it would be part 5. I guess we have to... And because there's still so many characters and that... Whew, part 5. There's so much... I didn't know I was going to talk this much. I'm sorry. I'm really... I do like League a lot, but I don't know if it's enough for this whole thing. Aside from that, I'm going to end it here, so it's not too much of me talking. But like, comment, and subscribe to the channel as I keep on bringing episodes every single day unless something weird happens. And apparently, as this is coming out, there would be like 2 a day, which is weird. Yeah, it is weird. So, with that and everything else, I do have a Twitter that's going to be at Cheetodor. That's CHEETDOR, which I'll be on all the time. I do also want to say, oh yeah, thanks for watching. BFN. Bye for now. Woot woot.